Okay.
All right, so we are at the table right now with attorney Nicole Sodoma. I apologize. And we are talking about merging families because we know in the cycle of marriage, some marriages end in divorce. And there are, in many cases, kids on both sides. So that's what we're talking about today, especially as back to school. Kids are getting ready to go back, and we have to make sure that the families are cooperating together. So what I really want to focus on first is communication and the importance of both sides communicating, because both sides sometimes don't like each other.
Unfortunately, that is the case. So we get really creative when we talk about communication, and at back to school time, it's even more important. Some of the things that we would consider are creating one email address to use for the teachers, so that instead of the teachers having to send out 2 email addresses, and that way it's hard to say that I didn't receive notice of something. Another one is an online calendar, so you both have access to the same calendar, whether it's on a Google Calendar or something like we have resources like Family Wizard and other apps that are available that you can use as shared calendar. For younger kids, it's sometimes easier to transfer a notebook that says, this is what happened in school today, this is a new food that they ate, as opposed to sharing emails. You can share a notebook back and forth.
Because I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
I was going to say, because in the process of communication, we know that some households are like party households, kids can do whatever, and then there's business serious over here in this household. So how do you create that dynamic that everybody is cooperating and working together for the good of the child?
It is really helpful to create some consistency in both households so that it's not a picnic at one place and prison at the other. So some ideas are letting the children create their own routines that could be applied at both households. You could, if you're not, I'm not particularly artistic, but I am creative. When they're online, you can see my responsibility chart where you can have, it's lots of different ideas with reward systems and creating the same reward systems at both houses.
Talk to parents specifically directly right now about the importance of mom and dad and mom and stepdad or stepmom and dad really putting themselves second in order to make that communication work, so that the kids don't feel the stress of it, because back to school is stressful enough for the kids.
So thinking about how you can look forward is one way to reduce some of that conflict. I mean, think about a regular schedule, whatever that schedule is, because no 2 families are alike and no 2 schedules are alike. Think about what those extracurricular activities are going to be. I noticed that CMS has some, I think, a new holiday, a day off of school in September. So look forward to reduce some of that conflict now so that you're prepared for it.
How important is it for parents to keep their internal conflicts to themselves and not share with their kids and not try to involve their kids in the arguments that the parents may be having back and forth?
Oh, it's so important. Adult conversations should stay with the adults, but also look at the court order or the agreement that you have with the other parent, and look and see if there are any rules in there with regards to what should be shared with the children or should not be shared.
I love the idea of one email that everybody can access, because I have friends who go through that where mom says, well, I never got the email, so you're not keeping me in the loop and you're not telling me what's going on with my kids. And it's just so awful, because it's usually, sometimes it's the case, I'm sure, but it's usually not the case.
It is an easy, creative way to eliminate some of that conflict and to remove the children from it. So one email address for all the kids.
And hopefully they're not fighting over what to call the email address.
They can vote on it democratically.
And
That's
visual representations too make a bit, especially for kids. I mean, you and I might work well in email, but for the kids to have a visual that is the same at mom's house and dad's house is really helpful.
Right, you could put values, what the house values are in both houses, what the kids' rules are, what their responsibility is, and the children can do it. It's a great, fun activity if you're more artistic, less creative, or whatever it is.
And talk about the stress that it creates for the kids if they don't have similar rules in similar places, that they get confused on not knowing what's expected in A and what's expected in B.
Or where they're supposed to be half
Yeah.
the time.
That's right, or even what time they go to bed. So what time they go to bed, or whether they brush their teeth 2 times or 3 times a day, or whether they have to make their bed at one house or the other. I mean, they could really, children, I know they would never do this, but could really manipulate their parents. And this is just one of those ways that there's consistency and structure, and that is always good for kids.
Thank you so much.